What's up, guys? Nolan here again today. This is the new way to install Ashen Shadows. It also includes a way to be able to keep your decks that you want in vanilla and your decks that you want in Ashen Shadows separate, and then you can actually save them. Apart from which was what I usually do, is you can export decks very easily. I don't know if anyone, I'm sure a lot of you do know, but in case anyone doesn't know, there's an export button and there is an import button for each of the decks, and I will show that when I get to it, when I go into Wargame here in a minute. But this is the new way to install Ashen Shadows, the Wargame Red Dragon mod, and I'll just get right into it. So this is the forum post for the actual mod itself. This is Spectre here, very good guy. He's doing an awesome job with this mod. I really hope if Wargame 4 is anything like this mod, then we're in for a real treat, guys. But anyway, this is the auto installer. The auto installer is the best way to install the mod now. It is fully functional. He has a very good way of updating it. So whenever he adds files, go right for the auto installer, and that's what I clicked there. Go ahead and download it. It'll give you a WinRAR file that you're going to need to export. So here's the WinRAR. Go ahead and open it up. And then I have a separate folder over here on my desktop for my Wargame mod stuff. So I can just go ahead and click that folder in the WinRAR, or unzip whatever you guys have. You're gonna need to make sure you extract it somewhere else. So I'm gonna bring it into this Wargame folder here I have in my desktop. Go ahead and replace the files. And now I have the new version of the mod here. So all I have to do is run the auto installer. But right now I'm gonna just make sure that I'm running vanilla. I am running vanilla. I'm just going to go ahead and make sure that I have a vanilla deck here. I have this deck over here, and I need 3 points added to it. So I'm going to just I'll add the Abrams in there. Just make sure that's 60 out of 60. The vanilla test deck, 60 out of 60. All right, we'll go back. And now what we do in order to save that, for anyone that has multiple decks, if you've got... before I started doing Ashen Shadows, I had like 100 decks, but I like making decks. It's alright, I have fun doing it, so I didn't mind losing them. I could just remake them. But for all you guys that don't want to lose them, this is how you save those decks. So I have it set up so that I have a separate location for these files. You're going to want to make sure that you have a separate location for the files that we're going to be saving here, and I have it saved on my E drive here, so I just go here. And this is, you want to actually have a new folder somewhere else, whether it be on your desktop or a separate drive somewhere. Just have it open and ready to take the files that I'll show you where they are now. Or that I'm going to show you now. You go to your C drive. Actually, this is probably a better way to explain it, is that this is actually how you save these decks. This is how you save your stats for vanilla Ashen Shadows. You go to your C drive or wherever your Steam folder might be. And for anyone that doesn't know, it's probably on your C drive. You go to your C drive, you go to Program Files 86. You go to Steam. You go to User Data at the bottom. Now, once you're in this folder, once you're in the User Data folder, and this is why Spectre can't actually automate this, this is based off of the games that you own from Steam. So these numbers are probably going to be different. You're probably not going to have the same number of folders, whatever. Once you are in the user data folder, once you are here, you just go to the search bar, you search for Wargame. I already did, so it's there. And if you have all 3 of the Wargames, 3 are going to show up here. But because I was just on Wargame Red Dragon, it'll show the date that I was on. The most recent one that I was on will be the Wargame Red Dragon, and because that's today's date, that's only a couple minutes ago. This is how you can tell that this is the file for Wargame Red Dragon. You go ahead and copy this. Do not move it, just copy it. Control C or just right click and copy. You go to your separate folder over here, which is what I have over here. I don't need this other window now that I have this here. And you have 2 separate folders, one for Ashen Shadows if you want to save your Ashen Shadows decks, and one for Vanilla if you want to save your Vanilla decks. And I want to save my Vanilla decks because this is what this is. So I go to my Vanilla folder, and I go ahead and copy and paste it. I'm going to delete this one. This one's from one before. Paste it there and save it. Well, you don't need to save it, but it's saved, but you just leave it there. And now what you can do is go ahead and go and install. So you go back to the auto installer that you had earlier. Go to Wargame install it. And I'm going to install Ashen Shadows. Finish that up. Open it up. And here we are for Ashen Shadows. That deck's probably going to be messed up. Yep, Van Test is messed up. I'm missing some of my planes. I thought I added in a different tank there, but we're clearly in Ashen Shadows here, and the way that you can see that is you go to, oh, I was already there, Armory, you go to Logistics, and you should see right here for the Bombu, Super Huey. Super Hueys are not a vanilla unit, that is a Ashen Shadows unit. That's how you can tell very quickly that you're in Ashen Shadows. Now we go back out. We'll play, let's say you played all your Ashen Shadows games, you want to go back to vanilla, one of your friends wants to play vanilla, so you want to go back. You're done with Ashen Shadows. Now what you do, if you want to save your Ashen Shadows decks, is you go back to that folder, you go to your C drive, your program, your Steam, your user data, you go back to this folder, and then you search Wargame, and this file will be your Ashen Shadows decks and stuff. So you go ahead and Control-C, or you just copy, and then you go to your other file location, you go to your folder location where you're saving these decks, and you go to your Ashen Shadows folder, or you can put it in the same one, doesn't matter as long as you can tell the difference. Actually, you can't put them in the same folder because of the same name, so you have to have separate folders. So I go to my Ashen Shadows, go ahead and delete that one, paste this one, and go ahead and leave that one. Now you can go and uninstall, you go back to the auto installer, you go back to the Ashen Shadows installer, next, and you uninstall. You click uninstall, and then you hit uninstall, even though it's uninstalled, just make sure uninstall is checked. Finish that up, X out of that, go into Wargame. Now this should be the vanilla version. Yep, it's the vanilla version. You can see when you go into the decks, yeah, it's still messed up, or Van Test is still messed up, it's even messed up a little bit more. You go back. Now what you do is you go back to your user data folder here, you search Wargame. You go back to that folder, which you know is Wargame Red Dragon because it's the most recent one used. You right-click it, you hit Open File Location, and it'll bring you to the actual location where the file is stored, hence file location. Now what you do is you go back to the folder that you had where you were saving these, which I closed for some reason. Let me open it back up. And if you're playing vanilla, you save your vanilla, which this one is. So you go ahead and delete this one that's in the actual folder. And you replace it with the one, copy, you replace it with the one that you saved earlier. Go back. And now when you open up Vanilla Wargame, your decks should all be there. I've only got one there, but yep, there's the Van Test. It's the same. It's got the units from before. It's fixed now. It's all good. So even if you've got 100 decks, I've only got 3 here, but only one that I was really using to test. But even if you've got 100 decks, they will all be fixed. They'll all be good to go. And you're all set. You can switch back and forth whenever you want. It doesn't really matter. Even if you want to go into Wargame, if you want to go into Ashen Shadows and you want to make new decks, whatever, this is always saved wherever you have it. So you can go and create all your decks for Ashen Shadows and whatever, and if you don't really care about those, you can not save them if you want, but if you still want to save them, it's the same kind of idea. You just make sure you have them in 2 different file locations, and you're good to go. So I'll run through that one more time for anyone that might need it. I am in the vanilla version of the game right now. I'm in Vanilla Wargame Red Dragon. So make sure you save that. That's where most people have the problems. They want to make sure they save their vanilla decks. So you go to your C location, or you go to your C drive, you go to your program files, wherever your Steam folder is. So you go to your C drive, you go to your program files, you go to your Steam folder, you go to user data. Once you're in here, this might be different for everyone. It probably is different for everyone. Depends on what kind of games you have on Steam. You search for Wargame. You go to the most recent one because that's going to be Wargame Red Dragon, unless you played European Escalation or Airland Battle. Whatever the most recent one will be, the one that you played, whatever you played more recently. Damn, it's supposed to be quick. Anyway, you want to save this one. You want to make sure that that's Wargame Red Dragon because it's the most recent. You copy that, or right-click and copy, or right-click and copy. Yep. and then you go to a separate location where you have these files saved, which I have right here. You can go ahead and paste it. It'll say replace, replace. Now, once you have that saved, you can go ahead and install Ashen Shadows again. Blah, blah, blah. Let's just picture that Ashen Shadows is up. And now you want to come back to vanilla, or you want to save your Ashen Shadows decks. It's the same deal. You want to make sure that it's going to be the same place. It's the same folder, the same file. Your Steam, your user data, your same file. Wargame, same one. Same deal. You just make sure you save it in a different file or folder location. And then you want to go back to another version. What you do is you go to file location of the same folder, delete the one that's there, and replace it with the one that you saved earlier. And then when you open the game back up, all your decks will still be there. If anyone has any other questions or comments, I know this is a lot, and because it's a lot, I just go with the easiest way, which is fuck it, just make new decks. I like Wargame, and one of the things I like about Wargame is the creation of the decks. Like I think it's fun to kind of go through, pick new units or whatnot. Especially with Ashen Shadows, you don't even get to realize some of the new units unless you see the names and you actually see the stats change and whatnot. So I don't mind making my new decks every time I switch versions. But that's actually how you save all your decks, and that's how you save your stats and whatnot between the two versions. So hopefully a lot of you guys can actually check out Ashen Shadows now without having to worry about losing all your decks that you have. So all you new guys, I hope you guys enjoy Ashen Shadows, and for everyone, I hope you have a nice day. See you guys.
Invincible.